Hi guys, and welcome to Monday's second edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I'm not sure in which order the videos will go out today, but we've got one video which is a classic Sudoku, which was recommended to us by one of our patrons on Patreon. That's Chris. So he sent me that and I recorded my solve of that earlier on. But this is the normal main video. So what I'm going to try and do during these sort of difficult times is where I can, I will do two videos, or Mark will do two videos on a day. We'll have one video which will be probably a classic Sudoku. We get sent a lot of those, so we'll try and record our solves of one of those a day without any sort of accoutrement. And then we'll also do a normal video, which you guys are used to. So this is the normal video, and we're going to do Fillomino puzzles today, which is it's a great example of Japanese pencil puzzles. I don't think we've done Fillomino before. That's an omission on our part. So we're going to have a look at the rules in a moment. I've got three puzzles for us again, which is the format that I've been sticking to when introducing new puzzle types of the sort of Japanese pencil puzzle variety. And there's also a fourth puzzle there, which I certainly recommend you have a go at, but is monstrously difficult by comparison. And I remembered this puzzle from a few years back. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. But the video, well, as I say, if we're just starting to look at Fillomino today, it's certainly not suitable for that. But what I might do, if there's enough interest, is I might record a solve and put it on Patreon or something if you guys do show interest. Now, I discovered earlier on today how to do polls on YouTube. So you can see I started a poll to ask which are the puzzles from Sam's a hybrid collection, which Sam created in response to himself getting COVID-19. He's fine now, I think. I wanted to know which of those puzzles you'd like us to do. I obviously did one yesterday. It was very clever but difficult, and we've had about 600 votes so far. It looks like the arrow Sudoku variant is in the lead. I will tell you that Sam told me that one of these puzzles is substantially more difficult than the other, and one of them is his absolute favourite. I'm not going to tell you which one because that will bias the outcome. But do check out Sam's puzzles, and if you think one of them would make a good video for the channel, then just vote in this poll. Now, how to Fillomino? Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, actually, while we're talking about self-isolation. Ashish Kumar, who is the brilliant puzzle setter from India, he started his own Patreon page to try and raise money for homeless people suffering from COVID-19. So I'll put a link under the video, and do check that out. As well. It's obviously in a very good cause. Now, what I wanted to show you was this, which is the rules of Fillomino. Now, this is an incredibly popular puzzle. It's been around since, I think, early 1990s, so it's 25 years old, and has some of the hallmarks of Sudoku, in the sense it's one of the few nickly puzzles where you actually enter in numbers in the grid. And you can see here, the rules are very simple, to be honest, but they sound complicated when you read them. And perhaps the easiest way to explain the puzzle is to look at the solutions. You can see there's some given numbers in the grid, and if you look at the solution, you'll find that each area that's been sort of divided up is equal to the size of the numbers in the area. So this 2x3 region here of size 6 contains the number 6. So if we look at this 3, for example, in the starting position, that will eventually become part of a I've lost my ability to speak. A polyomino of size 3. Now, the only complication with Fillomino is that you can't put two of areas which are the same size next to one another orthogonally. And that allows you to do some very interesting logic. So, for example, if you look at the 2's here, if this 2 was to be part of a polyomino which went vertically, then it would attach itself to whatever this 2 was, and that would not be allowed. So you actually know immediately from the start that this 2 must be part of a a 2-cell region that goes downwards, and this 2 must be part of a 2-cell region that goes upwards. And indeed, if you look at the finished solution, you can see that is indeed the case. Now, the only other subtlety to mention is that although there are lots of given clues here, it's not necessary for all of the eventual regions to be clued. So often with the more difficult Fillomino puzzles, you have to sort of work out where some of the extra regions might be able to go, and they'll be forced to go because of the restrictions in the surrounding numbers. Anyway, that's how the puzzle works. Now, as I say, I've got 3 puzzles I thought we should look at. Let me try and find them. Where was it? No. Is it here? Yes. Now, the other thing, why did I think we should do Fillomino today? Well, it's because of the wonderful Japanese heads-up puzzle competition that has been going in Japan for a few weeks now, where about 8 of the best Japanese solvers, and that basically means the best solvers of puzzles in the world, have been going head-to-head over a series of puzzles, and the results are being recorded, and it's one of the very few times you get actually to see these puzzles being solved by these masters. And today's puzzle, the main puzzle we're going to look at, which is this one, it was constructed by Ken Endo, who is, for those of you not familiar, he is one of the very, very best puzzle solvers in the world. And Hideaki Joe, another fantastic puzzle solver, I've got video footage of him completing the puzzle in 1 minute 36 seconds. Now, I don't know how long it will take us, but 1 minute 36 seconds is prodigiously quick, and it gives you an insight into just how quick some of these, some of the top solvers in the world are. But maybe we won't start with that puzzle. We'll start with this one, maybe. Yeah, let's start with this one. Now, this is from the website Gmpuzzles.com, which is a wonderful website. Check it out, subscribe to it. I wholeheartedly recommend it because it contains pencil puzzles, my handcrafted puzzles by some of the world's best setters. This is by Grant Fikes, and if you want to play the puzzle, click on the link under the video, and then you can have a go. So let's have a look at this and see how we would start it. So the ones must obviously be just part of 1-cell regions. So the way I would start this is by marking off the ones like this. This 3, you can see it can only get out in this cell, so this must be a 3, and therefore this actually forms a region of size 3 as a result of that. The 7 must come upwards, so let's put that 7 up. The 4, again, that must extend upwards, and in fact must extend all the way upwards like this. The 7 must continue its journey. Oops, 7, 7, 5 must come out, 5, 5, 5, 5. And can start to mark off some of these cells that can't be part. The 2's here, look. So if this 2 was to come this way, you can see it would either connect with this region of size 2 or form a region that was bigger than size 2, which is just not allowed. So we actually know that this 2 and this 2 can be sort of marked off in this way, so which allows us to finish off those 2 regions like this. This 7 region must now start to come out. And what should we do now? Now let's have a look at this bottom cell. This needs to be part of a region. But what size region can it be part of? We can't put a 1 here because then it will be next to another 1-sized region. That's not allowed. If this is of size 2, then this would have to be a 1 region, and that would connect with that. So that's also not going to work. And if it was of size 3, it would see this 3 region. And if it was size 4, it would see this region. And if it's size 5, it sees this square. 2, 3. And if it's size 6, it sees this square. And if it's size 7, it'll see that square, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that will break as well. So this is very lovely setting, isn't it, from Grant? We know that this is a region that is of at least size 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it must extend at least one more. It could be, sometimes in Fillomino you get huge size regions, and this could be one of those. But the important thing to know is this is at least size 8, and it's blocked in the 4s, look. So now these 4s have got, these 4s have got to come out this way, which means they'll do that. The 8s now must, oh dear, I didn't mean to do that. I want that to be a 4, and then I want this to be an 8. This is going to be an 8, that's going to be an 8. I'm not sure how these 8s connect to one another now. You can see the 7 is now going to be forced upwards here, which in turn forces the 3 upwards. Now this 3 mustn't connect to this 3, otherwise it'll be bigger than a size 3 region, so we can wall those off. This is forced to be a 1 region. This can't extend up any further. Whoops. So that's how the 3 region looks. That's how that 3 region looks. Oh, now look at this top. Yeah, now look at this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got a sort of fenced off region here of sized 11, which contains 2 5-sized regions. So we know, given these mustn't connect, otherwise we break the rules of the puzzle, we have to divide them. That's the cell that's going to divide them. That cell must be a 1. How beautiful. Okay. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 7 still needs 2 more, so it's got, in fact, it's got to be those 2. And okay, what should we do next? Just 1 second while I try and this 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Fence that off, look. Now, is this region bigger than size 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it needs another one anyway now. It must come this way, because we know it's bigger than 7, otherwise it's going to hit this region. That forces the 6 over. That forces the 8 one further, look. Now we've got a lot of 8s in the bottom right hand corner. Let's 2, 3, 4. Ah, now this is interesting. So it's not possible for all of these 8s to be part of the same region, because otherwise they would have to be this. If we connect all these 8s together like this, that's a 9 size region. That's too big. And obviously if we connect this region with this region, this sized 8 region then couldn't get out. So in fact these 2 are part of the same shape, and this 8 region is going to have to go off up here on its merry way. And that's going to be quite difficult to do, isn't it? Because to connect this region to this region without hitting orthogonally this region is, well, let's start doing it. We're going to have to wall off those 2 squares. They can't be in. That means this has got to come further. 2, 3, 4, 5. I still need 3 more cells that don't include this one without orthogonally connecting to this one. So there are only 3 cells available. That walls off that cell there, which must be a 1. This is now walled off, otherwise it'll hit the other 8 region. This is a beautiful puzzle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This must be a 1 region. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 2 region now to complete that shape. We need 2 more squares. This is one of them. This is going to have to be the other, otherwise we'll isolate it and it will be of size 1 and it will connect to its friend there, and that's not allowed. 1, 2, 3. So that does look right, doesn't it? This 6 has now got to come up, and that 6 coming up fences off this region. So this region is of size 8. We can now fill in the 8s. The 6 has got to continue. This region of 2 has only got one place to go. We mustn't isolate this square, it'll be of size 1. And we look like we're nearly there, aren't we? This square here, look. This can't be a 1 or a 2 region. It can't be a 5 because it can't get to a 5. So this square here must be either a 7 or a 3. Now, how many spare cells have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. It can't be of size 3, otherwise there's not enough space. So this must be of size 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's working. That means this is the 5, and we can isolate a 2 in the top, and we're done. So that's the final solution. Beautiful puzzle there from Grant. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so here's the second puzzle. This is by Prasanna Seshadri from India. Another wonderful, wonderful setter and solver. Also from Gmpuzzles.com. Now I've tried to select this one because it's meant to be very slightly harder than Grant's puzzle, according to the time stamps suggested for sort of expert solvers. You can see again, it's beautiful, a looking puzzle. You know, it's total symmetry of the givens and just very visually appealing. So let's see how we're going to do with this. I mean, there's obviously 2 given regions here. These 3s that are orthogonally connected must form regions. This 2 now, it could come this way, but if it comes this way, how would we fill these 2 squares? We can't make them a 2 region now, it'll clash with this one, and we can't make them 2 1s or they'll be next to each other. So in fact, we know that that must be forced. Now this 2 now can't go upwards or it'll connect to this 2. And these 3 cells, we're going to have to divide them. They can't be in a 3 region or they'll connect to the 3 regions up above and below. So that's always going to have to be the 1 region. This is going to have to be the 2 region. Let's finish off these 2s here. Look, that must be a 2 region. This common diagonal pattern, you see this a lot. In fact, it's down in this puzzle at the bottom as well. You see this a lot in Fillomino. There we go, we can do that. That's a given. Let's fill in the 1s. Now, this is interesting. This sort of force-shaped region here, it's not possible for this to be divided up, because if it is, it's either going to be into 2 2-cell regions, which will clash obviously, or it'll be a 3 and a 1 shaped region, and the 3 region would have to hit the 3s here. So this is a 4-shaped region. Okay, so what next? That 2 shape must stick out, so that gives us, now we can extend the 6 region, the 3 region must come up 1, which means we can extend the 6 region again. These 4 regions, we can do lines, look. Those must form borders, because otherwise we're going to connect these 4 regions to each other and they'll be at least of size 7 then, which is not allowed. Oh, now you could do a uniqueness trick here. I'm not going to do it because I don't like using uniqueness. But look at this 3. If we shade off that region, we've now got a size 3 region that we know we have to divide up into a 1 region and a 2 region, but there's no way of disambiguating between these, having that as the 1 region and having that as the 1 region. So actually we would know using uniqueness that this 3 must poke in here at least 1 cell. But as I say, I don't like using uniqueness to crack puzzles, so I'm not going to. Or at least not unless I get very stuck. Okay, so let's look now. What can we do? 4. What am I meant to do next? Oh, maybe I have to use the huge region. Size 11 these are. Let's start extending this along then. That 3 region's got to poke out a bit further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is interesting because these 3s and these 4s and 2s, look, form a wall in effect, because the 11 can never extend out to the right into this part of the grid. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. There's simply not 22 cells in this region, especially not once you start adding this 3, you know, all of these other regions. So these 11 shapes connect to each other. They are part of the same region, which means that 3, 11, 2. But I think we don't yet know which way that goes. I think it can go in one of 2 ways. So we're going to have to disambiguate this 3 in order to make more progress on the puzzle. So let's think about how we should do that. These 4 regions can't connect. Can't put a 4 here or we'll create a region of size 5. And we have to be very careful now with which cell is going to be the extra one for this 4. If I put it there, for example, I'm going to isolate these 2 squares. They're going to have to be of size 2 or have 2 1 shapes. So that is ruled out. Same thing with this one. This can't be a 4, or we have a 1 here and a 2 shape region here. That's not going to work. So this is the 4. Oops, that's the 4. Now this region of 3 we can't divide up now, it'll hit the 2 region, so this is of size 3. Okay, what now? So let's have a look up here and see if we can see anything helpful. We've got to be a bit careful with this 4 shape. One, 2. This 2 is forced because it can't hit that one. Now we can't divide this up or we'll end up with a problem. So this is a 3 shape. This could still be a 1 shape, but that 4 must come out. Now this is nice. These 4s now, if I extend this 4 into this square, then this 4 can never get out. And these 4s must be in different shapes. They're too far apart to be in the same shape. So actually I can wall that in, and that gives me the 4 region. That gives me a 2 region there. These 3s now, whichever one of these is a 3, it connects to this 3. So these 3s are not connected with one another. And look, this cell here cannot be a 1. So this must be the 4, and that completes that region. Nice. Okay. So this 4 extends here, and that creates a barrier. So it must extend 1 more, which extends the 3, which gives us the 6 here. Oops, not 56, a 6. Okay, so let's figure out the rest of this. How does this shape develop? That's a wall there because of the 4s. We know this 3 can't extend any further, so this is part of a 2 region. We can't put a 1 into this square, so this must be part of a region of size bigger than 1. It can only be part of a 3 region. And this is nice, look. We're gonna end up with a 4 region here and a 2 region. Now, if we put the 4 here, these cells would be a 2 region and hit that 2, so that's not possible. This is the 4. Oops, and these are 2s. We're still left with the uniqueness point down here, look, which I don't want to use with this 3. So let's have another think about how we do that. This square is interesting because it can't connect to a 1 region, so it must be part of a region that's bigger than 1, so it's got to be part of the 4. Now these 4s can't connect to one another, so we can wall them off. And this 4 can't connect with this 4, so again we continue this 4's journey downwards. The 2 is now forced. The 3 is now forced into here. This can't be a 1 region, so the 3 is fixed. That gives us the 2 region. This can't be of size 1, look, because it would hit this square. And it can't be of size 4, so this is a 2 or a 3 shaped region. If it's a 3 shaped region, let me show you how it would have to go here, but then it couldn't go downwards. And it can't cut off this 11, so that doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is it's going to force this to be a 3, this to be a 4 now. And how do I get this 11 to connect to this square? I can't. Whichever position this 3 extends to, it's either going to be this one or this one, is going to block off the 11. That's not going to work. So this square is part of a 2 shaped region, which means this 11 must come upwards twice. That forces the 3 region. Oh, this is a very clever puzzle, isn't it? Beautiful setting. I mean, you don't expect anything less from Prasanna, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've done that. We get the 4 there, and it's all starting to look good. The 3 must go there. This must be the 4. We put a 1 here, and we've finished. Beautiful, beautiful. Right, now let's look at the last puzzle, which is Ken Endo's puzzle. Now this is the one we've got the video footage of Hideaki murdering, 1 minute 36 seconds. So let's see if we can speed ourselves through it and see how to do it. Now you can see we can draw some lines in to divide these regions that must be separate. This must be a 4. Now these 4s can't connect to one another or we'll have too big a region. So that forces the 4 up there. This 4's got to come out 1 more. That 5's got to come out 1 more. The 5 could connect though across to these 5s. Oops, don't know why that happened. Okay, so I've remembered from the video what the next step is. Now it's quite cunning, this. I mean, you can see it's not actually easy to see anything you can do here, but what we need to do is to consider this 3-5 pair, which is sort of cornered off, and this 4-6 pair that are cornered off. And let's have a think about how that impacts on the region and the spacing that's available. So you can see that whichever this is, whether it's a 3 or a 5, the other side of this sort of 2x2 will then have the other parity. So if we make this a 3, this will be a 5. If this is a 5, this will be a 3. So actually these squares here form a sort of 3-5. We know there's a 3 and a 5 in these squares, we just don't know the order. And the same is exactly true on the other side, for the same reason with the 4 and the 6. Now, if this is a 3, it would have to extend 1 more. Obviously, if it's a 5, it would have to extend many more. But it's also true to say that this must be a 3 or a 5. This must be a 4 or a 6 by the same logic. And now all of a sudden, if we take another stare at this part of the grid, look, this 2 can't turn left. So the 2 goes upwards, and that means this 2 comes downwards, and that is the break-in that you're meant to find in Ken's puzzle. Isn't that? It's a very clever trick. And I don't think it's that easy to see. I'd be interested to know from those of you who are relatively new to Fillomino whether you spotted it very quickly or not. Now, let's continue with this logic now. Because of the 4-6 combination here, even if this is a 4, it's still got to go 1, 2, 3. It would have to come one more cell for certain. So this has got to be a 4 or a 6, which means the 7's got to come one more. This 4, 6 here has got to come down further as well. Look. 1, 2, 3. Now interestingly, it's got to come one further as well. 1, 2, 3. The minimum it could go was 4, which would be to this square. Now this 5 has suddenly become very problematic. It's got to turn here, but it can't connect to here, so we can wall off those squares. It's got to turn downwards, and now it mustn't connect here. It'll be of size 7. So in fact, look at that. That becomes a 5 region, and these are 2 1 regions there. This can't come across here, and now we know which side of this 4, 6 combo is the 4. It must be this one, because it's only got space for 4 cells. So that's forced. This is a 6 region now. It's a beautiful, beautiful idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got to go to that square. And now there's only size 3 region up there, look. So that fixes this side as well. This is a 5. The 4 now must come upwards. And must in fact go to there, mustn't it? And this must be a 7. So that's all fixed as well. The 3 must come out one further. And have we finished it? Is this 8 must come out now? Oh, not 88, 8. This 5 can't come up, so it must turn, and that creates a region of size 5. This must be a 2 region. That must be a 2. This is a 4. And this isn't that easy, is it? Because I think what we have to do now is to think about this 7 and this 8 and how you can see that the rest of the numbers here form a wall. This 7 is not part of the same region as this 7. There's too many spaces between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that this 8 and this 7 need 15 cells in this region here. So how can we do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So they need 15 cells. There are only 16 cells available. So we've got to be very careful. This square has got to be an 8. That's the first thing we can deduce. If it's not, if this is a 7, there's just not enough room for the 8 to get out. And now the 7, in order for it to have enough room, has got to come below the 8, like that. Suppose this could be a size 1 region, so we can't fill that yet. The 8 must extend upwards. The 8 must extend 1 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this 7, look, now can't come too far this way, otherwise it's going to hit its friend the 7 here. And it's absolutely clear that that square must be a 7. Now that fixes the 3 shape, look, all of a sudden. And that 3 just took up one of our 16 cells, and we know we needed 15 for the 8 and the 7. So the 8s must extend that way. That is not a 1, that must be a 7. 1, 2, 3. That must be a 7. That must be an 8. Yes, that looks good. That is not easy to see. I mean, I'm sounding a bit... sometimes I despair of my brain, but when you see what Hideaki Joe does to this puzzle, he just murders it. 5 must come out, the 6 must come round, the 5 must extend down, so the 5 region... Oh, there we go, we've done it. So we finished it off with a bit of alacrity at the end, but definitely an interesting puzzle. And yeah, what we're going to, the next thing you see is going to be Hideaki's solve. Now, just before we get to that, I want to show you a puzzle by John Bolton, which also appeared on Gmpuzzles.com. This is a few years ago. It's this puzzle. I'm going to put a link to it under the video. Now, this is, in my opinion, well, it's the best Fillomino puzzle I've ever seen, bar none. I have solved it before. It did take me a long time to solve it, I will tell you that, but it is worth your attention. If you have some time in these strange times we find ourselves in, you may well have some time. Do devote that to this puzzle. You will not regret it. And if you can't do it, and it is brutally difficult, it can seem totally intractable, then let me know in the comments, and I will try and do a video. I'll probably do a Patreon video of how to solve it. Right, so the next thing you see will be Hideaki Joe, and thanks for watching. Back next time on Cracking the Cryptic. Okay, so let's have a look at Hideaki Joe's solve of this puzzle now. It took him 1 minute 36 seconds, which is staggering. I mean, it's here we go, here's the replay. I hope that you'll be able to see this on your screens. You can see instantly putting in the sort of crossroads around the grid, snaps his pencil, he's going with at such a pace. Instantly seems to be looking at the central configuration. A brief pause here. And there you can see it. I think he's extended the 5 upwards by the looks of the pencil marking there. So there you go, and that's the 2s, and that, as we saw from my solve, was the critical step. He found it in about 20 seconds, and now he's going at some pace. Now we might lose the over the head shot in a moment, but I will try and continue the solve from the same point. Yeah, there we go. So having a look at the bottom of the grid now, we can't quite see. Oh, in fact, doesn't like what he's done. I mean, this is the other staggering thing I find about some of the world's best solvers. They are quite happy to use an eraser, and they sort of force the logic out, but they can do the calculation required so quickly that it doesn't really cost them any time. You can see, and he's finished. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.